Shalom, and welcome back to another episode of Weekly Torah Talks, where we share timely Torah messages relevant both to the Beit HaMikdash and to your lives. This week's Torah portion begins with the most famous words. God says to Avram, "Go from your land, from your birthplace, from your father's house, to the land that I will show you." In Judaism, we know there is no such thing as a free lunch. God created a world where we must earn our way to greatness. One does not just win the lottery and become the chosen people, nor does God randomly choose Avraham to hear the charge of Lech Lecha, of go for yourself. So what did Avraham do to deserve to hear Lech Lecha? The Zohar, a collection of mystical teachings from the time of the Talmud, writes, "Woe to those who sleepwalk through life. Avraham merited to hear Lech Lecha." The Sfat Emet explains that Avram was not unique in being told, "Go for yourself." In truth, everyone in Avram's generation were in fact commanded to go for themselves. However, the Torah only mentions Avraham because he was the sole person who listened to the charge and followed God's mission. God gave everyone the opportunity to go against the grain, to become a leader like Avraham, and the father of a nation and religion dedicated to the service of God. But only Avraham listened. Only Avraham left what he knew to be true to discover something greater. Many explain that this Zohar, "Woe to those who sleepwalk through life," is a cry that echoes throughout all generations. God demands greatness from all of us. The only question is, will we answer the call? Many explain that this Zohar, "Woe to those who sleepwalk through life," is a cry that echoes throughout all generations. God demands greatness from all of us. The only question is, will we answer the call? Let's look at the way that God describes how to achieve greatness. He tells Avram that it is a three-pronged formula. 1, go from your land. 2, from your birthplace. And finally 3, from your father's house. To become great, says God, we must leave some aspect of the land that made us. Perhaps it is the culture that we got used to, the lifestyle that we developed, or the moral compass and outlook through which we are raised. To become great, says God, we must leave our birthplace, the friends we've grown up with, and acquaintances that we have made. And to become great, says God, we must even leave our father's home, our family, and those who care for us. To become great is to become bigger than we are right now, and that by definition necessitates change. And change by definition necessitates leaving the place where we had become comfortable and rediscovering ourselves in a new place and in a new scenario. Our sages teach that one should always study Torah not for its sake, so that eventually he will come to study it for its sake. This is classically understood to mean that one should learn Torah for rewards or incentives, because this will help bring him to eventually learn Torah purely for the sake of learning Torah. Some expand this to include doing mitzvot, commandments that bond us with ourselves, man, and God, for reward, for in the end we will come to perform mitzvot for purer motivations. But I like to explain this teaching in another way. In its original Hebrew, the teaching goes as follows: Le'olam yilmad adam Torah shelo lishma, ki mitoch shelo lishma ba lishma. Read another way, one can explain this saying as follows: a person should always learn Torah and perform mitzvot that don't line up with his name, shelo lishma, because from that place of learning or doing mitzvot that don't align with one's name, reputation, or personality, i.e., mitoch shelo lishma, he will expand himself and come to be known for that very mitzvah that once stood so far out of his comfort zone. Ba lishma, it will come to be associated with his name. In this understanding, the sages teach us that even if in this current moment we say to ourselves, I'm not the guy that learns much Torah, or I'm not the guy who does many acts of kindness or volunteer work, there is one thing you should do. You should become that guy by doing those actions that you think a Torah scholar or a great volunteer would do. If we can take the lesson of Avraham to accept the call of God, even when it means we must leave our comfort zone, then perhaps the world itself will follow suit. You see, the Temple Mount, as it were, has become comfortable with having a golden dome in place of the Beit HaMikdash, of the Holy Temple. Perhaps if we can follow in Avram's ways, then the world itself will follow suit with the greatest change of all, the rebuilding of the Beit HaMikdash, and a rush of God awareness pouring out of Jerusalem into the entire world, leading everyone who has sleepwalked through life back to Jerusalem and ultimately back to God. I hope everyone has a wonderful Shabbat.